Hi all, I'm back with a video on how to navigate this week's task list and some of the work that I'm expecting for you. I hope that you found that this week was less overwhelming. I have changed the syllabus a little bit so that I've extended the time for us to turn in the next informal textual response, which is the one from when I was Puerto Rican. I've I hope you've already seen, I've graded all of the informal textual responses and provided feedback, made commentary. Some of them were absolutely mesmerizing and very powerful. Others followed directions just as they should have been, and they were very good as well. So I'm not favoring anything. What I will say is that if you've done something that didn't take you out of your comfort zone yet, try to do at least one informal textual response that brings you out of your comfort zone. And for me, that's being on camera today. So I dare you to do the same with one of the informal textual responses. I have asked some of you if I can share it with the rest of the class, so I will be doing that soon. I'll just put up a post so that you can see these really exemplary pieces of art, poetry, just really great. I hope you guys are enjoying the readings. I know that students do. I have to say that I am helping in a observing and co-teaching just one English language arts period in a sixth grade classroom, and because I hadn't been in the classroom in about 7 years, other than to observe. I hadn't actually been teaching a lesson. I was a high school English language arts teacher for 10 years, but I really needed to get back in the classroom and try out everything that I ask you to do in this course. And I will say that this week's of everything that we will be doing, and there is much yet to learn, I will say that close reading is one of the easiest strategies for kids to learn, and it is really, really incredibly effective. So do make sure that you go through that close reading PowerPoint. And to get us started, I will go ahead and show you the task list for the week. So it's right here at the top of the page. I have no control over where Google Classroom places things now. I can move things up and down, but it doesn't give me a lot of freedom. So you go in here and you're going to see that the task list is there for week 4. So for this task list, you're going to read a close reading article. I did get some messages regarding the link, and I have fixed it. It should take you to the proper article now. And I've also changed it in the week 4 readings. So if you click here, it's going to take you to an article, which is great for understanding how close reading works, why it works, and then the most beautiful part of this article, and I really want to take you there, is understanding how to use anchor text, or what you'll see in the rest of the task list through other readings, that they're really text sets. So this particular article does a really good job of explaining how text sets, not just a text, but how text sets allow students, struggling readers, students with special needs, students with IEPs or 504s who struggle, who need more direct instruction. It really explains how to create access points by using different levels of text that are high interest in some instances. So many of us want to do the classics if we're teaching English language arts, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm a huge proponent of that. But if we're going to do a story that we know is going to be very challenging for our readers, we need to maybe have that story be the anchor text, and everything else that we have them read has similar themes, but is just creating access points. So whether it's a video, a picture that you're giving them, that's considered a text as well. a short story or an informational text that you're having them read that deals with the same topic, there you're going to have students be able to access the same type of information from different areas, and eventually they'll be able to read that anchor text maybe completely once they work on reading comprehension and the levels of reading lexile progress. But at least when they're in your class, they won't be that kid that doesn't know what's going on, because you've given them all these access points. So I highly recommend this reading, and everyone has to do that one for this week. So that's your first reading of the week. And then I want you to choose one of these. And these go into how to create text sets, how to use them. This one's particularly good, the text sets multicultural, and I use this one. So this is going to take you to a website actually that describes text sets, how to use them in the classroom, and it I think has a culturally responsive teaching angle that I really liked. So then you're going to respond to the close reading article that I was just discussing, and one of these text set articles, by writing a 2-paragraph response, which you're going to be putting into the close reading text sets section of Google Classroom. Next, I'm just reminding you, remember you have that big comprehension assignment or unit plan due at the end of the semester. So have you started working on that yet? If not, have you at least opened it up and looked at what's expected? Because I think many of us get overwhelmed with a project and don't actually sit there and just kind of still your mind and go through each of the steps. So I highly recommend that if you haven't done that yet, you sit with it for a little bit, because it's really not, it's comprehensive, but it's not all that difficult at all if you just start planning it out. And then I've provided a close reading PowerPoint, super short. I highly advise that you go through this and you take notes, because it describes exactly how to incorporate close reading strategies in your classroom. And it's not only using these codes that you see here, because these are wonderful. Kids love these codes. And now that I've been co-teaching in this 6th grade classroom, I will tell you that they love it. And I tell them, okay, it's time for us to do coding. And they get very excited about the codes. But it's really not only about that. It's about having them read for different purposes, and having them read at least 3 times. And once they get used to doing this, their habits of mind around reading really change. And they start to read using those codes, even if they're not coding necessarily. So they start really paying attention to the text. So kids that would have sat there before and read an entire chapter and then didn't know what the chapter was about, because most of our students are okay with phonological awareness. They can decode, they know their phonics, but they just can't comprehend. And a lot of it is paying attention to what we've read. And I tell them all the time, it's about creating new pathways in our mind to reading. So I highly advise that you go through the PowerPoint, take some notes, because it will make it easier for you to actually implement close reading in your classroom. So I'm reminding you to begin reading When I Was a Puerto Rican by Esmeralda Santiago. And the informational textual response for that will be due October 6th. So it is not due this week. Just know that. And as I said before, if you haven't done so yet, which is we've only had 1 informal textual responsive. So if you didn't do it this time, and you're having an easier week, try to go out of your comfort zone and choose something that maybe you would have, never thought of before. So, you also have to choose one of the 4 feminist lens texts below, and use the close reading codes handout that I've linked. So what I've done is that I've adapted the close reading handout. If you go here, it's going to take you to the Google Doc. And what I want you to do is always is make a copy of this, of course, so that it becomes yours. And then I've asked you to read and code the text as you read. So if you can, I would let me know where on the text you actually use these codes for the article that you've chosen. And then I say here to provide 2 examples of the types of notes that you took as you read. And then finally, you can choose one way to respond here. So now that you've read close reading, now that you've close read the text, I'm asking you to respond. So the response should include one of the following. You only need to do one. So either summarize, discuss audience, who is the audience for the particular article that you've read, the purpose for the article, and your opinion about it. So only one for those. Again, this is exactly what I do, and I have the teacher do during my observation and work in that 6th grade classroom, and it's been working marvelously. We've done this in reciprocal teaching, and I can say that it just solidifies everything that we've been going through here, because so much of what we teach you to do is really evidence-based, but having gone back into a classroom and doing it is it's both challenging and rewarding, and I can say it really works beyond, of course, what we know from the research. So these are the 4 readings. Everything is in the week 4 readings folder, including the PowerPoint and all of the articles that I'm asking you to choose from, and the actual article that everyone has to read, which is Close Reading Without Tears. So my friends, that is all for this week's task list. If you scroll down to the bottom of your page, you will see that you have the actual response for the close reading feminist response here, and the text sets response here. So this is where you would upload this week's work. Again, I hope that you feel it's not as overwhelming. I'm trying to give you a bit of a break, kind of slow it down a little bit, but still get everything that you need for the course. And I'll try to do that, kind of even it out, but I must say that there will be some weeks where it's just heavy, because it's our most one of our most intense courses. Please text or email with any questions. You know that I'm here. I try to be extremely responsive. So I hope that this helped. Take care.